After white moves pawn to d4, black moves pawn to d5, and white moves pawn to c4, which is the Queen's Gambit, black can decline with the Slav defense, moving pawn to c6. This opening gives black a solid pawn chain defense, good chances to develop its pieces, such as its light-squared bishop, and an opportunity to fight for a supported center. In fact, it is one of the most successful openings for black and does not require a lot of theory. However, the pawn push to c6 does not develop minor pieces for black and blocks its b-knight's most natural development square. Following the main line, white develops knight to f3, trying to control the center. Black follows similarly with knight to f6, white moves knight to c3, and black takes c4 with its d-pawn. With this move, black can start developing its bishop without worrying about white taking fd5 and queen to b3. If black developed its bishop before this move, white would take with pawn to d5, black retakes with its c-pawn, white moves its queen to b3, threatening black's undefended b-pawn, black moves its queen to b6 to prevent the b7 capture, and white and black exchange knights at d5, leaving black a pawn down for no advantage. After black takes at c4, white can proceed with the alapin variation, moving pawn to e4 to prevent black from playing the defensive pawn to b5. If black still plays pawn to b5, they will lose a pawn after all exchanges. So, by preventing the b5 defender, white can eventually retake the c4 pawn. However, black may take advantage of the weakened b4 square. Black can now continue with the main line, the check variation, by moving bishop to f5, placing more pressure on e4 after losing its pawn center control. White can then move pawn to e3 to defend d4 and open a diagonal for its light-squared bishop to take c4, although blocking its dark-squared bishop. Next, black moves pawn to e6, creating a solid pawn defense if white pushes its d-pawn. White takes with bishop to c4. Black develops bishop to the weak b4 square, pressuring white's e4 control with its knight, plus the bishop can be later supported by pawn to a5 or queen to e7. Both sides castle. White develops queen to e2, defending its bishop. Black develops knight to b7, adding pressure to the center. White pushes pawn to e4, threatening black's bishop and opening a diagonal for its dark-squared bishop. Black retreats its bishop to d6. White moves its bishop to d3, defending e4, and black moves bishop to h5, threatening to exchange with white's f-knight, which may move to the weak e5 square. At this point, black has a solid pawn structure and developed the minor pieces, while white has better center control. After black takes at c4, white can play aggressively against less experienced players with the Slav Gambit, moving pawn to e4, with black responding with pawn to b5 defending c4. Although this gambit is unsound for white, eventually leaving black a pawn up, it gives opportunities for white to develop and launch an attack on black's kingside. From here, white pushes pawn to e5, threatening black's knight. Black develops knight to d5. White moves pawn to e4, trying to compromise black's queenside pawn structure. Black moves pawn to e6, defending its knight. White takes with pawn to b5. Black exchanges knights with white at c3, and black retakes with pawn to b5. White can now aggressively develop knight to g5, threatening the f7 square. If black is not careful, white can play queen to f3, which would threaten mate on f7 and black's rook. However, black can still easily block with bishop to b7. At this point, it is unclear if white's attack was worth the pawn gambit, and it may or may not favor white's winning chances as positions change. For example, white can move queen to h5, threatening mate on f7. Black defends with pawn to g6. White retreats its queen to g4. Black develops its bishop to e7, threatening an exchange on g5. White moves bishop to e2, and black moves bishop to d5, stopping any tricks on the e6 square. Both sides can develop, reposition, or castle, but black often gains a slight advantage with well-defended pieces and a pawn advantage. If black had not moved bishop to d5, instead moving knight to d7, trying to eventually reach the d5 hole, white can challenge black's bishop with bishop to f3, hoping to move its queen on f3. Black can defend with queen to c7. White moves knight to e4, waiting for a good opportunity to position into d6 or f6. Black continues moving the knight to d6. White can move bishop to h6, trying to position into the well-defended f6 square. Black can defend against this with rook to g8. White moves its bishop to g5, offering a trade that would move its knight to f6. Black again avoids this by taking the bishop to e4, white retakes with its bishop, and black finally reaches the hole with knight to d5, blocking the diagonal to its rook. Although there are many attacking opportunities for white, which you can capitalize on if black is not careful, black can still defend well and equalize itself against white's opening advantage.